We've been hearing it over and over again.
A record number of women.
A surge of first-time female candidates.
It's all part of a national wave of women.
Women are running for office in record numbers, and 2018 is being called the year of the woman.
Probably most people, when I said I was going to run for this seat, thought, go for it. Have fun.
There was a lot of changes that I wanted to implement on the federal level. And so when the opportunity arose to run for Congress, I jumped for it.
I didn't see any women stepping forward to run in my congressional district. And so I said, you know what, if no one else is gonna do this, let's go, I'll run.
I think a lot of the excitement and energy that we're seeing in 2018 is a result of Donald Trump's victory. From the minute he took office, organizations that train female candidates reported a surge in the number of people interested in their program, and a lot of that translated into activism.
Show me what democracy looks like!
And explicit activism involved running for office.
But this isn't the first time we've heard it was a year of the woman. The last time this happened was in 1992, after Anita Hill accused Supreme Court Justice nominee Clarence Thomas of sexual harassment in front of an all-male panel.
All I could think of is, who's there saying what I would say? And that night, after watching some of the hearings, I actually went to a friend's house and I said, I'm gonna have to just run for the Senate because nobody's saying what I would say.
This is Senator Patty Murray from Washington State.
Hi, Patty Murray, running for U.S. Senate. Nice to see you.
She was among the record number of women who ran for office in 1992.
I was told I should change my name to Pat so people wouldn't know I was a woman. I had people tell me I didn't have enough money, I didn't have the experience, I didn't have the background, it wasn't my turn. And I was literally told by a state senator that I couldn't make a difference because I was just a mom in tennis shoes.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm Leo Sunny. Who are you?
Nice. Pardon? I'm Patty Murray.
Oh, you are the Patty Murray.
The one.
Boy, what a little teeny hand.
I heard all of that and I just ignored it because I just felt so strongly that someone needed to be there that would say what I said. Obviously, a lot of people felt the same.
It was supposed to be a new era in politics.
And it was like color in a sea of gray. These women weren't men wearing skirts. They were women doing the country's business and knowing the responsibility of what it is to be a senator and also to have a different voice and a different background.
So that initial bump really represented a sea change in women's representation and laid the groundwork for the incremental gains we've seen since then.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Out of 100 senators, only 6 were women. And out of 435 representatives, only 48 were women.
Year of the Woman, to me, would be like upending everything. We made a lot of progress. We went from 2 to 6, but that's not a Year of the Woman.
Women thought they had a voice, but realized they didn't. And so it's almost like now people are just a little pissed. They're a little angry and say, no, I thought we had a voice. Well, I guess we don't. Well, here I go.
This time around, women don't want to just be a part of the conversation. They want to drive it.
I mean, we all have these expectations. There should be more women. Why don't we have more women? Why aren't more women running? It's tough to run for government, and it is this different place for women in public life.
Thank you for coming with your Democrat t-shirt. Ready to go.
Lauren Underwood, a registered nurse, is the first woman to be running as a Democratic nominee for Illinois' 14th Congressional District. She ran against 6 male candidates in the primary and won 57% of the vote.
When I launched the campaign, I expected racism, but I didn't expect the sexism. And I didn't expect that because I'm a nurse and I spent my career in healthcare. And, in my line of work, our whole vertical had been women, these dynamic, smart, fantastic female leaders. And so I had never experienced that in the workplace. And then running for Congress, all of a sudden people are like, physically intimidating coming into my personal space and really, I believe, being incredibly misogynistic and inappropriate. And so then you layer age and then you layer race on top of that. And what happens? This gets magnified. So is it challenging? Yes. We are disrupting the status quo.
My name is Pearl Kim and I'm running for Congress in the 5th Congressional District.
For Pearl Kim, the Republican nominee in Pennsylvania's 5th Congressional District, the decision to run came from an intensely personal experience.
I was actually a survivor of campus sexual violence, and that was in college. I ultimately reported it to the police, and I went through the criminal justice system as a victim, and it was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Kim became a special victims prosecutor and worked at the Delaware County District Attorney's Office for a decade, dealing with domestic violence and human trafficking.
The Me Too movement certainly inspired me, and I was frustrated with what was happening in Washington. It is nerve-wracking to share such a personal story, but I think it is an important story to tell, and why it's so important for me to truly advocate for individuals in the district, because I understand what it's like to be the individual who was against the institution. I understand what it's like to be that person who felt like government was not working for them.
We need to really have a seat at the table legislatively. We need to make sure that we have people representing our interests who are making the laws of this country.
Mikey Sherrill, a Democratic candidate, is running for New Jersey's 11th congressional district. A Navy pilot and former federal prosecutor, Sherrill is planning on serving at the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey. That is, until Donald Trump was elected.
I felt very keenly that this administration was attacking the values that I had spent my entire life supporting and defending. So things like women's rights and minority rights and Gold Star families and POWs and our federal court system, our Constitution, the freedom of the press. So with every attack on the things that I had spent my life working towards, I felt a greater and greater sense of the need to do something for the country. And I think this is a real moment in time where we need to think very critically about what we want this country to look like over the next 50 years.
We won't know until November if 2018 marks a leap forward for women in politics, or just another small step. More women are running for office than ever before, but more men are too. Just running won't be enough.
If they do not win their elections, if they do not win that primary, if they do not win the general, then they've lost. And historic or not, right, we have to win.